From Studio 3 at Buzz TV, it's The Horse's Mouth with Tom McManus.
All right, welcome into Campo's Corner here at Tommy Max at my bar on the Horse's Mouth, and brought to our good friends at Brandon Brewski. Make sure you check them out at brandonbrewski.com. It's one of my favorite segments. It's just me and the coach at the bar talking about our 1-5 Jaguars. So let's get into it with Coach Campo. How are you, Coach?
Tom, I'm good. Yeah.
Are you really that good?
Well, man, I'm disappointed.
I say 1-5. It just brings me down. It just makes me mad, and it makes me upset because I feel like, I know this sounds crazy, but I still feel like they're not that far away from putting it together. You know, it's just a few things here and there, but they're big things. They're things like being out of position, not knowing your coverage, not catching the ball, not picking up the block, you know, those types of things. That's got to drive a coach crazy.
Well, there's no question about it. There's an underachievement going on. There's no question about it. You know, I've seen way too many mistakes in key situations, and that's why you always look at it and you say, you know what, if we just don't drop that ball right there, or we don't go off sides there.
False start.
The rest of the game is pretty good. And that's kind of where this team is at. I think that they can go into a ball game and they can win any ball game. The problem is that they're not making the critical plays when they have to make it. And I don't know what the reason for it is. It's almost like the pressure now has gotten to them a little bit, and they're trying to too hard to do things, or their concentration is not exactly where it needs to be.
Yeah, or listen, we know this. Look, when you're not on a winning team, you always get up for the game. You're ready to go, and then the dagger hits. You know, you're down 7, you're down 10, and then you're like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah,
halftime, you come back out, fire it up again, and then something bad will happen. You'll be like, oh, here we. And it's the only way to break through is for those bad things not to happen. So catch the ball, make the block, make the right read. Do all those things that you're supposed to be doing.
Well, you know, a perfect example is you take the opening drive. And first of all, you get a 3-and-out.
Against the Bears.
Beautiful.
No, I know.
Beautiful.
They had 2 3-and-outs.
Yeah.
They did.
Well, the first offensive drive, they go the length of the field. They make a couple of mistakes.
2 false starts.
Off starts. And then they have to take a field goal. Well, that's not really adversity. But a team that's struggling. Here we go again, just like you said.
It's 7-0 if Gabe catches that ball in the end zone.
And then we drop the ball besides that. So, you know, that's really what's going on with the team. You know it, and I know it, because we watched enough practice to know that they have a talented group, but they're just not making plays when it counts.
You know, it feels like, too, like there's friction between the GM and the head coach. They're not on the same page. And I'll use Eric Armstead as an example. Balke signs him knowing that that Eric wants to play more end than tackle. He doesn't want to play tackle because he's been banged up, and you get banged up inside. But he's not that effective as an end. And I guarantee you the coaches want him to play tackle, and when they go down to the GM and say, hey, he's got to play tackle, and the GM says, well, I signed him to play end, there's friction, and that's never going to work. And that's just one example. I bet you there's more.
Yeah, I've been there. You know, I dealt with Jerry Jones for a long time, and both as an assistant and as a head coach. And that can be an issue. There's no question about personnel on exactly, you know, why are we not winning? Is it because of I brought you the people, and you're not getting it done, or the coach is saying, you didn't bring in the people that I want. So there's a little bit of friction involved. I'm sure that what you're talking about with Armstead is a factor. You know, I'm looking at it, and then you couple that with, you know, in some ways I'm a Ryan Nielsen fan on defense because of the fact that he did move guys around to kind of know in the preseason who he's got and what they can do. Well, Eric Armstead, look, when it's third down in a pass situation, you better have your best pass rushers on the field, period.
Every time.
Well, the very first third down, we had Armstead and Harris at defensive end.
I know.
The other two guys were off the field. At least have Hines, Allen, or Walker,
Trayvon.
one of them there.
Yep.
You know, so it's a combination of those things, I think, that just are not synced in right now.
Yeah, well, I think with Ryan Nielsen, too, you know, he was supposed to be this press, attack. I'm seeing more read and react.
Yeah, that's what's happened.
I'm seeing off coverage.
Well, that's what happened.
And you know what? You bring in Darby. Here's one. You bring in Darby. He's a press guy.
Right.
You're playing him off coverage. What does he do? He holds guys.
Right.
So he doesn't get beat. He's used to being up on the line, banging at the line, and trying to divert them.
It's almost the opposite of last year.
Yeah, right.
Last year, we played so much zone.
Yep.
When we tried to play man, we couldn't do it.
Right.
This year, we started out playing all man.
Yep.
And then when we had to switch to zone, they're not playing it very well.
But even the zone, like it was press 2.
Yeah.
It's Tampa 2, the press Tampa 2, right?
Right.
You're up on the line. It looks like man.
Yes.
But it's really 2 coverage. You got
Right.
safety help behind you.
Right. Well, it's a struggle right now because they went from being an aggressive football team early to now being bend but don't break. And when you play the bend but don't break game, it's okay if you got an offense that can control themselves the entire ball game. When we were with Dallas, we were a little bit of a bend but don't break team because we were going to control the fourth quarter with our offense.
With your offense, right.
Well, this offense is making way too many mistakes. So you combine the two, it's a very difficult game, and it's just not working right now.
Were you surprised by the Roy Robertson-Harris trade?
Well, I watched the game.
Why do you think that happened?
I watched the game. He got the only sack in the game.
Yeah.
You know,
well, he was late to it, but he did make some plays.
Roy Robinson-Harris, I was a little surprised because the one thing that they did do, they have a lot of interior linemen.
Right.
But Harris was playing a little bit of end.
Right.
They don't have any ends.
Yeah.
And
he's
so,
not an end either.
Yeah, he's not either.
Yep.
But it surprised me a little bit. But at the same time, you know, sometimes you have to strike when you're hot.
Yeah. I got a solution for that. All right. So put Lloyd in at middle on rundowns and let him rush the passers. Your number 3 outside backer, DN, whatever you want to call it.
I'm with you 100%.
He's terrible in coverage, coach. God
100%.
bless the kid. I don't know what's going on, but those 3 touchdowns were his fault. The first 3, Kmet was his guy, and then the wide receiver was his guy. He either doesn't know what he's doing or just doesn't know. You know what I mean? So take it away from. And by the way, Ventrell Miller should never leave the field.
Absolutely,
he's your best cover guy and the best guy out there right now.
Yeah.
Even with Foyer coming back. Yeah, that's one where I wonder, like, were the GM and the head coach on the same page of trading Roy Robertson-Harris, or was that something going on there, which is we don't know. And you know as well as I, that's what happens when you're 1-5.
Yes.
GMs, coaches, head coach, they all start trying to save their own butts.
Right.
Right? It's not me, it's him. Hey, I brought in the players and said, oh, no, wait, these are... And by the way, I want to get your opinion on this because I said it online, and I truly believe this, and I think you do too. You know, you hear guys like Dan Campbell talk about his first conversation with his GM up in Detroit. And they didn't talk about talent or scheme. They talked about what kind of player do you want. So don't you as a GM, you have to not only bring in the talent that matches the scheme that your coach wants to play, but also that it matches the culture or the way that coach governs or coaches, and they're going to be accepting of that, right? So for Doug, he's kind of laid back. Okay, well then you better have self-starters, true veterans that really don't need their head coach to motivate them because they're already motivated.
Right.
But they don't have that. So that's where the mix is, I think. The problem is the issues are.
Well, your opinion and my opinion are exactly the same because the only way you can do what you want to do as a coach is that you have your kind of guys in the huddle.
Right.
And that's not just talking talent. That's talking about mentality and how much you love the game and all those kind of things. When you go to the combine as a coach, that's what you're looking for.
Yep.
I'm looking for the Tom McManuses that love the game and they're tough and they're physical and they love the game.
Yep.
Whereas personnel guys sometimes just look at talent.
Yeah.
They don't look at the other factors that are involved. And so, you know, it's definitely an issue that has to be handled.
Well, also, I think with Doug's kind of attitude of, hey, we'll fix it next week. We'll clean it up. We'll clean it up. Well, look, and it's not on Trevor. I'm not saying this because it's not.
Right.
But, you know, there are players in that locker room when he doesn't do well and the coach is like, oh, so, you know, get it. you sometimes get a little, you know.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned with Doug right now.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm concerned with Doug is the number one thing that kind of put me over the top on it was Cisco saying that the team quit.
Yeah.
And the word quit, you know, my
man.
answer to that when I'm asked about it is, as a head coach, he's in my office the next day, and he's either fined or at least there's a conversation.
Right.
Doug said there was no conversation with the guy.
Yeah, I saw that.
Quit is different than, you know, the guys are making some mistakes. They're not, you know, communication is not great and all that.
Right.
So that's a concern to me, that he said he had not had a conversation. Not an ass chewing, excuse my language,
no, you're good.
but a conversation.
Right.
The other thing is,
and for the record, so people don't know, it's just like a family. You don't air your dirty laundry in public.
Yeah,
you just don't do that as
you
an
do
NFL
it in the locker
player.
room.
Yeah, you don't do that.
By saying the word quit, you're putting an indictment on your own guys,
on your own teammates,
and the coaching staff. Okay. The other thing is, it kind of getting the feeling that Doug Peterson was the right coach at the right time for the dysfunction that went on with Urban Meyer.
Okay.
But is he the long-term answer? I'm not sure. Because he did right the ship.
He did.
Basically. For 2 years. Even though we were a little dysfunctional at the end of the year last year, we still did go 9-8, 9-8.
Sure.
Now there's that concern there, and I'm hopeful. I love the guy. I think he's smart. I think he's a good football coach. He might be a little too loyal to some guys, but we'll see where that goes.
Well, again, I go back to the GM with the players, and I'm not trying to single out Eric Armstead, but even does Eric Armstead look like he's sprinting?
No.
Does he ever look like the one sack he had against Miami was a great sack? He was on the guard. It was a perfect.
It was inside.
Inside,
though.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
But when he's running around, he doesn't look like he's going full speed.
When
he don't look like he cares that much.
One thing you have to have is, with all the quarterbacks that are in the NFL today, there are very few of them that just stand in the pocket.
Right.
Even the guys that are not great runners, like Stroud.
Right.
If things don't work out, he's getting on the perimeter. At the defensive ends, or linebackers, if you're in a 3-4, you better have guys that can run.
Absolutely.
That can run the quarterback down. Because all the dysfunction that happens in the secondary, 90% of it is when the quarterback's on the move. So a guy like Armstead or a guy like Roy Robinson Harris on the defensive end is not going to get it done.
Josh Hines-Allen might want to lose some weight too. He looks
he looks a little heavy. Exactly.
All right, Coach, I wish we could solve it all, because you and I want nothing more than our Jaguars to win.
Absolutely.
There's nothing better when they win. You got them winning against New England, the final game in London.
Listen, if you look at the two teams, statistically, we're better than they are.
Are we?
We are better. They're only scoring 13 points
13
on offense. And defense, they're giving up 300 and something yards a game. They're 4-6 against the rush, and they're
5-4,
getting killed in the passing game. So and the offense can only run.
Right.
They can't throw the ball. So,
well, especially if Drake May doesn't play.
Yeah, statistically, we're better than they are. But this is a game we have to win if we're going to turn it around.
If they don't, I don't want to go there, but I'm gonna. If they don't, do you think heads roll at all? Do you think the owner's just going to stay committed to the end? Or
I think he's going to go to the end, personally. Now, there may be a coach go or two, but I think he's going to stay with the administration, if you want to say the head coach and the GM. I think it'll be at the end of the year.
Listen, I've said it publicly. I'm going to say it right here on this show. In my opinion, if Shad, whatever time, fires Doug, he's got to fire the GM.
Yeah, I think it's a package deal.
Pick my next coach.
I don't know what the relationship is with Trent, but I think it's got to be
It's nothing against Trent. This isn't personal. I don't know him that well. I've talked to him a few times. He's a nice guy. But business is business.
Absolutely.
Solutions are solutions, and he's
we
did
not firm up the areas we needed to firm up.
Agreed.
Enough in the offseason in the last 2 years. Now, did we draft a few good guys? I think so. But as far as the pass rush and the offensive line consistency, we really did
You have
nothing.
2 defensive ends. You have no backups right now.
Right.
You know,
That's
make
it.
Lloyd one of them.
That's
I
it.
think you'll do all right. All right, Coach.
All right,
Thanks so much,
Tom.
my man. Always
Yep.
a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Each and every week, Coach Campo here on The Horse's Mouth. You can always check it out at the dailynewsnetwork.com website. Until next time, stay safe, be cool, and come on, Jags. Beat New England for crying out loud. We'll see you next time right here on The Horse's Mouth. Cheers.
Cheers.
Darrell Hogan Law is a collection of lawyers that help people solve problems in areas of their life they're not able to solve them themselves.
We are not individuals. We are purely a team. We work together for all of our clients.
We have the resources to win your case and win it to such a degree that you're going to be very happy with the results.